Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are in the world. I hope that you are well. Peace be with you, Mariam, Baran, Bruce, M, and Gina. I think there'll probably be a fewer people today because I've got a suspicion that the corner is opening back up. And to answer the question before it's asked, if there is if there's reports of good policing this Sunday, then I'll be back at the corner going forward. I don't know what that means for doing these Sunday things. It may continue, it may not, but I hope you're all well. Peace be with you, Rob, Eric, Believe, and Prophet, and Sempoi. I hope you're all good. We may be having a debate with someone. Peace be with you, Princess. We may be having a debate with someone who, one of these Twitter commandos of the jihad, who I invited to debate today. I'm late. I said 2, so he might not come, in which case that's on me. But before we begin, let's begin with a prayer as we always do. Hear my crying, O God, give ear unto my prayer. From the ends of the earth I will call upon thee when my heart is in heaviness. O set me up upon the rock that is higher than I, for thou hast been my hope, and a strong tower for me against the enemy. I will dwell in thy tabernacle forever, and my trust shall be under the covering of thy wings. For thou, O Lord, hast heard my desires, and hast given an heritage unto those that fear thy name. Thou shalt grant the king a long life, that his years may endure throughout all generations. He shall dwell before God forever. O prepare thy loving mercy and faithfulness, that they may preserve him. So I will always sing praise unto thy name, that I may daily perform my vows. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So guys, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try and do a response video, which should be fun, because I've never done one before, and I'm not even sure how to do it. So bear with us a second whilst I try to set up the IT, assuming that my IT wants to work. Oh, we froze. There we go. Right. Let's try application. That's the one. Share. Okay. Right. Oh gosh, can you guys see me? It looks like you can. Let me just change this 1 second. Right then. Okay. Hold on a minute. Yeah, not very good at this. So let's come out of that. Right. I want to be able to see myself. Great stuff. Okay, so it looks like you can see that. So that's good. So how can I do it so that it appears and I can see myself as well as seeing this? Yeah, we're going to be talking about this one. I mean, it's an interesting video, guys. It really is. Just bear with me though, because I've never done this before and I'm not quite sure how to manipulate it. So I want to be able, right, but when I do that, it doesn't let me. Oh, this is so frustrating. There we go. Oh, come on. Right, let's come out of this again. Let's try it a different way. Bear with us. Let's try it this way. You can tell, guys, I am still an amateur when it comes to IT. I want to set it up in a certain way so we can talk about this video. Because I want to be able to see your comments, basically, whilst we look at this. Bear with us. No, is it going to do it? Okay, so I can't figure out a way. Oh dear. All right, I'm going to ask one of you guys. All right. Is there anyone who knows how I can share this so that it is? I want to share that. Okay. Okay, that's a bit, it's not really better, is it? Bear with me. There we go. That's better. Right. Okay, guys, I figured it out. Can I just get a sound check? Forgive, I know this is frustrating for you guys, especially for you guys that know how to do it. I'm not giving up, don't worry. Can I just check that you can still hear me? Because I've disappeared off the screen. I don't know if that means that you can still hear me or not. It is, one is a yes, I'm taking it. I didn't say that one is a yes, but I'm guessing that one is a yes. That seems to be the way that people use these things. So in that case, let's have a listen to what she's got to say, and then I'll respond. Please let me know if you can hear her or if you've got any problems not being able to hear her and what she's got to say. I'm going to stop and start it as and when I can. I can't seem to control it from here, which is annoying. So we'll just do it this way. Well, in that case, I might as well change that to that then. Right then, let's crack on. I'll give her a full screen and then I'll just reply. So just to let you know, guys, I now cannot see your comments because I can't manipulate this from both sides. So I just saw a message saying that you can't hear the video. That's so annoying. Right. Does anyone know how I can share the video with sound? Because I can hear it. So how can I share it with you guys so that you can hear it? Okay, I think the way I've got to do this is I've got to do it this way. Okay, let's try again. Second time's the charm. This is why I wanted to do it live so I could see if it was working. Yeah, we could do lip reading. That's always an option. So we'll try again. This time with sound. Nope. Now what's going on? So there appears to be no sound here either. So if I can figure out how to make this have sound, then let's have a look. Nope. Yeah. I can tell, guys. There's no sound. I'm just not sure what I can do about it. Nope. No. Okay. That is such a shame. That is such a shame. What? Why? You can hear me, but you can't hear that. So it's got to be because of the microphone. But I'm not sure what I can do about it. So let's try this. One moment. We might abandon this as a bad job, guys, and just go straight to the Q&A. Can you hear this now? What about this? Let's know if you can hear. Now you can't hear me. Okay. So can you hear me, guys? Let's try this now. Can you hear me, and can you hear the video? Just a quick yes, can you hear me and the video? Please confirm you can hear both. Guys, quick question. I need someone to let me know video is still muted. So you can hear me, but you can't hear the video. Okay, someone jump onto the thing. I need to talk to someone. Okay. You don't hear her. Well, I mean, it's not playing now. Let's try this again. You can't hear this? Right, you can hear this, but not the video. All right. Okay. So how do you do it? It's kind of like, what on earth do you do? Edit name. There's no option to change the volume unless autoplay is on. What's this? Change playback speed. Volume is up. And the volume on my side is up as well. Quit the volume and resharing it. Okay, let's close. So close the video. Right. I have no idea how to do this. Shall we just abandon this, guys, and go to Q&A? Unplug your earphone, perhaps. Has anyone actually got any IT experience? Right, okay then. Let's try this. Going to try and reshare the video and see if we can get this to work. Let's have a look. Okay, right, let's have a look. Response and okay, second time's the charm. Let's see if this works. There we go.
Person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think
how about this?
When it comes to fighting the far right, that sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Have we got it?
As well as having dubious medical credibility, this metaphor's effectiveness as a prescription for fighting the far right is basically homeopathic. I can't think of a single interviewer who's better than Andrew Neil when it comes to televised vivisections of guests. But while he was able to deftly expose Ben Shapiro as a fraud and a know-nothing...
Why don't you just say that you're on the left? Is this so hard for you? Why can't you just
Can you hear it, guys?
The central pillars of his ideology were left intact. This
Brilliant. Let's try this again. Oh, flipping heck. Right. This, guys, is why you should listen in school when you're being taught IT. So I'm sorry about that. It was to whoever said reshare it and look for a little box that said share audio. You know, I thank that person. Thank you for rescuing this train crash of a live stream. Well done, you. And now we will do the actual thing that I've been trying to do. I don't know why. Why would you want to share it? Why would it assume that you don't want to share the audio if you're sharing a video? Who knows? I don't know. But what we'll do now is what I wanted to do. So we're going to do a response to this video to Ash Sarkar. She is a self-confessed communist who identifies as a Muslim, for those that don't know. And she is an activist along sort of cultural Marxist lines. That's to the best of my understanding. And she said something in this video. Well, you'll hear it. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to go through the video and respond, as everybody does, to what I'm hearing. I haven't prepared any notes for this. I only heard this today. And I thought I would respond to it ad hoc. Who helped me? I don't know, but whoever they were, thank you for them. And I want to respond to this video because I think it demonstrates something within that intersectionality where Marxist politics interfaces with Islam and generates Christophobia at its highest. And I want you to type in when you hear it, the Christophobia. But we'll comment to everything that she says based on, you know, what she's saying. So let's have a listen.
So I've been thinking a lot about debates recently.
What race is Islam? No, I'm not against all Muslims.
Yes,
I got married last year. I had 4 Muslims at my wedding.
Saying that they're getting paid illegally less than men to do the same job. Well, that's not fair, is it?
Let's go to the first question. Those are complicated questions.
We are. You've spoken for quite a long time, Pictures, so I'm just going to speak for a moment.
Shot for the minute. We've got to let him talk.
But he lost the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes.
Do you not? Have you ever read Kenneth Arrow?
I'm starting to think they're kind of dumb, not least because they seem to be the main vehicle through which the most annoying people on the planet get on TV.
I've been a critic of Obama. I'm a critic of the Democratic Party because I'm literally a communist.
Fair point. For those of you with very...
So she's essentially said that debate is dumb because annoying people get on TV with a self-deprecating bit of humor. But the point is, debate is at the very heart of a democratic system. And hearing different opinions is what is the fertilizer of democracy. If you can't hear opinions that you don't like in a democracy, then you don't live in a democracy. You live in some kind of totalitarianism. If there's only one narrative that's allowed to be expounded in a democracy, then you aren't in a democracy. That's communism or Nazism or fascism. And, you know, so to say that they're dumb because the wrong people are getting to voice their opinion, or rather to voice their wrong opinions, demonstrates the underlying tyranny that lies behind a Marxist worldview. This idea of suppressing wrong opinions or wrong conversations.
Healthy emotional lives who don't spend most of their day scrolling on Twitter.
Sorry, 1 minute.
Recently, two darlings of the culture wars conservative right went on flagship BBC programmes and got dealt a bit of a mauling.
Really, would you call the pro-choice position?
So why don't you just answer my question,
sir?
Do you still
What's
want,
wrong with the BBC?
Do you still want to
What is
roll,
wrong with the BBC?
Do you still want to roll back gun controls and
What
reintroduce
is wrong?
If it's so obvious that Andrew Marr utterly destroyed Nigel Farage, why is it that the Brexit Party's tweet of the exchange got shared over 2,000 times? And
I mean, the obvious answer to that, Ash, is simple. He wasn't destroyed by Andrew Marr. That's the reason why Nigel Farage clearly was not beaten in debate. Nigel Farage clearly won the debate in the public sphere, and he won against all the media, all the establishment, all the left-wing activists, the Labour Party, the Liberal Democratic Party, the Conservative Party. He took on everyone and he won. And he won through debate and discussion. And that's why people like Ash are threatened by this, because they've realized that they can lose the argument. They have realized that they are losing the argument. And this is why Ash has suddenly decided debate is dumb, because the wrong people manage to get the wrong opinions heard, and dumb people therefore might go along with the wrong opinions by the wrong people. Now, the whole point of free speech, the whole point of a democracy, is that you defeat bad ideas with better ones. And the reason why the left and all of the establishment lost on the Brexit question is because Brexit was a good idea and the EU is a bad idea. You know, so they're losing the argument, and now they're complaining about debate. Now we'll come to comments, guys, in a second, but let's just let her speak and finish the video.
has been viewed by over 1 million people. Something doesn't quite add up here. By any metric, you would say that Andrew Marr was the one who came off best in that exchange with.
Really? By any metric? I think the fact that it was the only metrics you've got there are the views and the shares, and the views and the shares would indicate the very opposite of what you're saying. because that's the only metric that you've got. Oh, and the fact that, yes, he won the referendum.
Nigel Farage. He seemed clear, he seemed calm, he didn't raise his voice. However, I don't think that Nigel Farage was there to win a debate against Andrew Marr. He wasn't interested in making the best points. All he wanted to do was declare war on the BBC.
I've been going around the country speaking at packed rallies every night. And do you know who's not there? The BBC. And from this line of questioning now, I can see why.
You see,
now, the thing is, what's wrong with declaring war on the BBC? I mean, the BBC is a biased broadcasting corporation that assumes the editorial line of The Guardian. And why should members of the general public be paying for the BBC when they don't agree with the ideology that is governing the BBC? There's nothing wrong with declaring war on the BBC. That's a good idea, actually, to tear down the ivory towers of the liberal progressives and the champagne socialists, like Ash, who is a champagne socialist, and we'll see why in a second. But the thing is, it's a good idea to tear down these things, and I heartily encourage you guys not to pay your license if you can, and to get away from it. And why not call out the BBC on its bias, which is all that. Let's have a look. How are we doing, guys? Yeah, can you still see me? Because we've had I saw that my connection disappeared here momentarily. You lost me. Yeah, fair enough. It's all right. I didn't actually say anything because I saw it myself. So there's no sound. We're not having a great day today, are we? Let's have a look. Let me know when you can hear me, guys. Can you confirm that you can hear me, please? Fine now. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, be patient. We're just having one of them days. Bear with us, and we'll get through this. So basically what we've got is the lovely Ash Sarkar complaining basically that Nigel Farage has an agenda. Gee whiz. In other words, she's complaining that democracy works. What a surprise.
Similar dynamics play out in Andrew Neil's now notorious grilling of noted Kermit the Frog impersonator Ben Shapiro.
I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer, so I think we're done here.
It's often said when it comes to fighting the far right that sunlight is the best disinfectant. As well as having dubious medical credibility, this metaphor's effectiveness as a prescription for fighting the far right is basically homeopathic.
Now notice, guys, the link that she's just set up. Nigel Farage, far right. All of the people that have appeared in this video, I assume by the way that the video is framed, that she will suggest that all of these people are far right. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is very much how the militant left work. If you disagree with them, well, you must be extreme right wing. You must be far right. Ethno-nationalist, you must be racist, you must be... little does she understand that there's plenty of black people that are right-wing. There's plenty of Asian people that are right-wing. It isn't that the right has a spectrum of thought, and it isn't the case that just because someone is not left-wing, that automatically means that they're far right. And this lampooning of people as far right is a tactic that has been well used by the left, to try and silence and shame anyone that dares to question any aspect of our current progressive liberal agenda, framework, structure, or direction.
I can't think of a single interviewer who's better than Andrew Neil when it comes to televised vivisections of guests.
I will agree with that. Andrew is the don of interviews.
But while he was able to deftly expose Ben Shapiro as a fraud and a know-nothing...
Why don't you just say that you're on the left? Is this so hard for you? Why can't you just be honest?
The central pillars of his ideology were left intact. This is a problem of the form itself. The setup of an adversarial interview segment means you're well placed to discredit an individual.
Did you hear that admission, guys? Did you hear the admission that the point of the adversarial interview is designed to discredit the individual? And that, Ash, is a very true observation. That is the point of mainstream broadcasts media adversarial interview. It's got nothing to do with the engagement of ideas, and it's got everything to do with villainization, a tactic that was used again and again and again by civic nationalist Tommy Robinson, who was not an ethno-nationalist. So he isn't by definition extreme far right. He was a civic nationalist. So he believed that anyone who was proud of this country, whether they were black, white, or pink with yellow polka dots, so long as they were proud to be British and could embrace British values and a British way of life, he would have seen them as something to be welcomed and someone to be welcomed. But he was villainized through the adversarial interview, because the adversarial interview is all about, as Ash quite rightly observed, discrediting the individual and not discrediting the ideas.
So when it comes to delegitimizing an ideology, a social movement, or its intellectual breeding grounds. What this actually showed is that Ben Shapiro was more than happy to disavow or modify things that he said in even the very recent past.
Again, it was your description of the State of the Union address in 2012 as fascist.
The wording of President Trump's 2012 address was bad and wrong.
That's all. There are plenty of things that are bad and wrong, but it doesn't make them fascist.
And I think it's because none of this actually touched the core of his racist ideology.
Now, notice again what she's setting up here. So far, she said she's identified these people as far right, and she's identified these people as having a racist ideology. So I hope you're keeping track with how she's setting this up, because the sucker punch is about to come, and you're going to see the Christophobia that lies at the heart of this woman, like the sheer, deep-rooted, vehement bigotry that lies at the heart of what she's saying. So, but I mean, just on the Ben Shapiro interview, I think she's fair in saying that Ben did a bad job. But the idea that people can't modify what they have said in the recent past is just unrealistic and inhuman. Who does not modify what they've said? Who does not misspeak? Who does not mistweet or mistype these days? You know, it is a grace that we should be able to afford people in civic debate, in intelligent debate, to allow people to correct themselves if they themselves are willing to recognize that they have overstretched in their description of the world around them. And this shows the gracelessness of a Marxist, because these kinds of ideological Puritans have no sense of humanity. All they care about is the purity of their ideas, and they are willing to destroy people for those ideas. And that is the very warning that Pope Emeritus Benedict gave when he said, I think it was Pope Emeritus Benedict who warned that human beings should be at the center of political endeavor, the human person, not the ideas. Because the moment you put the ideas at the heart of any kind of political project, you lose sight of the human person. And the reality is that in fact, no, I've kind of lost the point I was going to make there. It'll come back to me. So let's press on and see what she goes on to say. So remember, we've identified these as extreme right racist ideologues.
Case in point, Andrew Neil was able to get Ben Shapiro to row back on an individual racist comment he had made about Arabs.
Sure.
Israelis like to build. Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
Well, as I say in an article entitled, "Here's a list of all the giant, bad, dumb things I've ever said."
Was that dumb?
But yes, that's a dumb tweet.
But was unable to press him on the foundation of Shapiro's work, Judeo.
There you go, guys. Did you see it? Do you see it? There you go. The root of his racist, extreme right ideology is Judeo-Christian culture. Now, guys, Ash and her ilk will accuse me of Islamophobia because I'm a critic of the ideology and the worldview of Islam for very good reasons. I don't agree with slavery. I don't agree with pedophilia. I don't agree that Muhammad is the best example. I don't agree with oppressing Christians and Jews as second-class citizens just because they're Christian. I don't agree with murdering apostates. You know, I don't agree with buying and selling people as property, all of which are sustained within Islamic texts and Islamic teachings and are exemplified in the person of Muhammad. So, but she will call me an Islamophobe for saying that thing, for observing that reality. And yet here, she's just identified Judeo-Christian culture as racist and far right. Now, is that not the very definition of hypocrisy? Isn't that the very definition of a virtue signaling liberal progressive, a champagne socialist who lives by the motto, do as I say, not as I do? Isn't that who she is for all the world to see? Now, the thing is, guys, if you identify as someone who has a Judeo-Christian culture, she's describing you. So I want you to put in the chat, please. And there's no need to, you know, just be honest. Do you identify as having a Judeo-Christian culture? 1, if you do. 2, if you don't. It's totally fine if you don't. You're more than welcome here. But the point is, I just want you to recognize she's talking about you. It gets worse. But I just, there you go. So most of you identify as having a Judeo-Christian culture. Now, if we were to criticize Islamic culture, people like Ash will marshal the Islamophobe term. So therefore, is it not legitimate that we can also call Ash a Christophobe based upon the very logic that she applies? Now, let us continue.
Christian culture. And to be fair to Neil, Shapiro stormed off in a huff before he was able to raise the question.
He did. It was a poor interview by Ben.
Lecturing me on Judeo-Christian culture after you call the pro-life position barbaric?
I just asked you a question.
And I asked you a question. You failed to answer a single one of mine. Frankly, I find this whole thing a waste of time.
But why is this important? Because this framing sets Muslims apart from our Abrahamic cousins, Jews and Christians, and what's more, absolves...
There we go. So the assumption, the premise is that recognizing the fact that you have a Judeo-Christian culture, that it means that you are guilty of segregation, that you are guilty of separating the Abrahamic cousins within the Muslim community. Let's be clear. Islam is not an Abrahamic faith. It doesn't follow the prophets of Israel. There was Muhammad, and then there were people after Muhammad. And it has zero connection to Judaism, and it has zero connection to Christianity. And the only reason to talk about Abrahamic faiths is for political reasons. It is for this agenda of enforcing a liberal, progressive multiculturalism. Acknowledging the fact that a truth that Islam is not in any way connected to Judeo-Christian culture is not the same as harboring bigotry against Muslims. Those two things do not follow. It's non sequitur logic. It doesn't rationally follow that because I recognize that Buddhism is not connected to Christianity, that therefore I have a bigotry against Buddhists. It does not follow that because I recognize that Taoism does not have any connection to Judeo-Christianity, that therefore I've got a problem against the followers of Tao. It doesn't follow that because I recognize that Hinduism does not have any connection to Judeo-Christian culture beliefs, that therefore I have a bigotry against Muslims. Sorry, against Hindus. But yet the false logic that Ash is trying to propose here is that if you recognize that Judaism and Christianity have zero actual connections to Islam, other than the claims that Muslims make themselves, which we dismiss because they are unevidenced, they are untrue, and they're contradicted by the facts, Ash thinks that therefore you must have a bigotry against Muslims. This is her logic. So you're guilty because you have a Judeo-Christian culture and a Judeo-Christian mindset.
Christianity and whiteness more generally of responsibility for the most.
Did you hear that?
Jews
Let's do that
and
again.
Christians, and what's more, absolve.
Just play it back a bit. There we go.
Christian culture after you call the pro-life position barbaric?
I just asked you a question.
And I asked you a question. You failed to answer a single one of mine. Frankly, I find this whole thing a waste of time.
But why is this important? Because this framing sets Muslims apart from our Abrahamic cousins, Jews and Christians.
Do you not think, Ash, that the fact that Islam teaches that Jews and Christians should be made dhimmis and second-class citizens in an Islamic state are called kuffar, or are described as being ritually unclean and treated as ritually unclean, might actually be something that separates the cousins?
And what's more, absolves Christianity and whiteness more generally of responsibility for the most.
Did you hear that, guys? And absolves responsibility of Christianity. Did you hear that? Like, listen to what she just said. Absolves Christianity and whiteness. Now, despite the ridiculous conflation of Christianity with an ethnicity, which is utterly ridiculous, because the Christian faith is African, it is Latino, it is Pakistani, it is Arab, it is Assyrian, it is Armenian, it is Slavic, it is Polish, it is Anglo-Saxon. Despite the fact that she has conflated these two things, she is blaming Christianity for the Holocaust. That's what she's doing right now. But if you say that Islam is responsible for terrorism, she will call you an Islamophobe. But it's not Christophobic for her to say that Christianity is responsible for the Holocaust. And I've heard lots of Muslims who do dawah make this kind of argument. I think we even had a debate with someone recently. Was it Obi? We had a debate with him, and I think he tried to use that argument. Forgive me, Obi, if it wasn't you. But that's what she's just done. Let her press her argument forward.
Deadly instances of anti-Semitism in human history. So
the Holocaust, which was the most deadly expression of anti-Semitism in human history, that's absolutely true. But where's the connection to Christianity? Where's the evidence that Christianity is responsible for the Holocaust? Let's just go into Nazism for Ash, because clearly she's not read a book, at least on this topic. National Socialism, for those of you that don't know, is a modernist political ideology that emerged out of the pains and the sufferings, legitimately or illegitimately, I'm not getting into that debate, connected to the Versailles Treaty. It started in France as a political movement, if I remember correctly. It was born there. Adolf Hitler took it over and gave it his own spin. But the roots of National Socialism are in a distortion of Nietzschean philosophy and the now defunct practice of social Darwinism. these are the roots, and also nationalism itself, which emerged out of the reaction to the Reformation Wars. So you had the Reformation Wars, you had the Christian Civil War, and in reaction to that, the national identity was elevated and the religious identity was diminished within Europe as a way of uniting societies to stop them fighting about religion. This goes on and gets interfused with, particularly in the French Revolution, it was about a civic identity, about, you know, the idea of the citizen. And so Jews, who were at this time a persecuted minority, were suddenly, you know, able to move freely within the nation state. That's a good thing, before anyone tries to misquote me. But then, because of social Darwinism and because of the impact of the ideas of Darwinism upon sociological interpretation and thinking, a really bad school of thought emerged called social Darwinism, which up and leading to around the time of the birth of the Nazis and the Nazi takeover of Germany was quite popular amongst a lot of intellectuals, even British ones who kind of used it to defend imperialism. And they, with this, and here is the sort of Christian contribution, if there is to be one, is that anti-Semitism was a staple of medieval Christianity. There's no getting away from that. But the anti-Semitism of the Christian, unjustified as it was different from the anti-Semitism of the Nazis. The anti-Semitism of the Nazis was connected to ethnicity. The anti-Semitism of the Christianity, when it was expressed, and let's just bear in mind that you can find lots of counter examples, even through the medieval period, against anti-Semitism, you know, that would demonstrate that it wasn't just one uniformed opinion or attitude, because there were many medieval kings, bishops, princes, rulers who actually went against the anti-Semitism of their day. Now, it would probably, thank you, Juncker, it would probably be better described as anti-Judaism in the medieval period, as opposed to anti-Semitism. It's probably a very good recategorization of what was experienced. But Nazi Germany was ethnic anti-Semitism. You see, even at its worst, the anti-Semitism of the Catholic Church could be gotten away from if you converted, which isn't to try and justify it. I'm just pointing out a fact. But the anti-Semitism of Nazi Germany could never be escaped. You were a Jew because your genetics said you were a Jew, and that's it. You were guilty. So Ash is demonstrating incredible ignorance of the facts and has just laid the blood guilt of the Holocaust on Christianity and whiteness. That is what she's just done. So if you're a Christian, your religion, according to Ash, is guilty for the Holocaust. That is what she's just said. But her left-wing lovey-dovey friends and all her hipster mates, they're not going to call her out as a bigot, even though they'll talk across the dining room table about how we must stand against prejudice and how we must advocate tolerance. And yet here she is stirring shit up. Like, really stirring shit up. Christianity, guilty for the Holocaust. Whiteness, guilty for the Holocaust. As if whiteness is some kind of objective, platonic thing that you can prod with a stick. This is the kind of champagne socialist, virtue signaling hypocrisy that disgusts me about left-wing militants. And this is exactly why, brothers and sisters in Christ, because I know that you who are my brothers and sisters in Christ, you come from all different kinds of ethnicities. And we are united by our common love of the Lord. Amen? Now, this bigot who is speaking so ill of our religion, this Christophobe who is speaking so ill of our religion, is blaming our faith, our discipleship of the Lord, for anti-Semitism. And her prejudice is intersectional, in the same way that her causes against prejudice are intersectional. So I am doubly bad. If you're a Christian who's black watching this, or you're a Christian who's Asian and watching this, you're not as bad as me. Because, yeah, you're bad because you're Christian, but I'm doubly bad because I'm Christian and white. Do you see, brothers and sisters, why we have to stand together? Why black and white and Asian Christians must unite against the ethno-nationalists on one side and people like this on the other? We have no friends amongst either camp. This is why Christians must have solidarity together to stand against those that hate us because we are Christian, and those that hate our brothers and sisters because they are of a different ethnicity to whichever group is propagating the hate. And let's be clear, whilst the majority in Western Europe is definitely white ethno-nationalists, Africa does have its counterparts in black ethno-nationalists, and there are black ethno-nationalists in America as well. We've got to stand against both groups, and we can only stand against both groups if we do it as Christians. Now, I want to be clear, I would not insult the Muslim community by ascribing the politics of Ash to Muslims. I think Ash speaks for Ash and all of her left-wing progressive Marxist friends. But she will cloak herself behind her religious identity whenever it suits her tactically to do so. So let's have her finish her argument.
Even though he made a complete tit of himself, Ben Shapiro was actually quite successful because he was able to take a fringe idea which has a violent following and place it slap bang in the middle of mainstream political discourse.
Did you see what she just did there? Christianity and whiteness. By the way, I am perplexed and bemused to understand how whiteness is an idea. I always thought it was an ethnicity, but hey, I mean, or rather, it is an accident of an ethnicity, because I don't know if Ash knows this. I don't know if many other people know this, but there's more than one white race. You know, it's not that every white man belongs to the same race. There are Saxon whites, there are Scandinavian whites, there are Castilian whites, there are Celt whites, you know, it's a fringe idea. Now, obviously, that's a ridiculous statement. So what could she be referring to when she said it was a fringe idea? Oh, wait, what religion did she mention again, guys? Christianity. So she's Christianity as a fringe, conscious awareness. BBC are happy to have Marxists of this world. Only the most populist of the left-wing narrative, wingers. They want anyone who isn't going through clearly, or are we buffering or what?